On this Friday of the 30th week in Ordinary Time, our Gospel from Luke chapter 14 places Jesus under intense scrutiny. While dining at the home of a leading Pharisee, Jesus is being watched closely by his hosts. When a man suffering from dropsy appears, Jesus challenges the rigid legalism of the Pharisees by posing a critical question. Is compassion bound by the rules of the Sabbath? Or does human dignity always come first? Gospel. Luke chapter 14 verses 1 to 6. Which of you, having a donkey or an ox that has fallen into a well on a Sabbath day, will not immediately pull him out? A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. One Sabbath, when Jesus went to dine at the house of a leader of the Pharisees, they were watching him closely. And behold, there was a man before him who had dropsy. Jesus responded to the lawyers and Pharisees, saying, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath, or not?" But they remained silent. Then he took him and healed him and let him go. And he said to them, "Which of you, having a donkey or an ox that has fallen into a well on a Sabbath day, will not immediately pull him out?" And they could not reply to these things. The Gospel of the Lord. Reflection. The unceasing work of love. There is one act that must never rest, the act of love. There is one work that must never stop, the worship of God. In our passage today, Jesus confronts a legalism that had tragically missed this core truth. He reminds us that the day of rest, whether the Sabbath or the Sunday, is not merely a cessation of labor. It is a profound invitation to prioritize these two essential realities. It is a time set apart precisely so we can be free for God and free for others. The tension in the room is palpable. The Pharisees and scribes, trapped in a fortress of tradition, watch Jesus closely. Their understanding of the Sabbath was built on intricate rules defining what constituted work. For them, healing was a form of work, permissible only if a life was in immediate, critical danger. To heal a chronic condition like dropsy was, in their view, a deliberate violation of the holy day. But Jesus operates from a different understanding. He sees the Sabbath not as a cage of restrictions, but as a sign of God's covenant and liberation, a weekly reminder of the freedom God gave his people from slavery in Egypt. It is meant to be a day of restoration, joy, and holy communion. And what could be more holy? What could be a greater act of worship than restoring a person to wholeness? When Jesus asks, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath, or not?" their silence is an admission of their dilemma. They know the compassionate answer, but their man-made laws have obscured it. Jesus doesn't just debate the point, he embodies the answer. Then he took him and healed him and let him go. This act reveals the heart of God. For Jesus, any human suffering, any pain, any alienation from community, like that experienced by the man with dropsy, is an emergency. It is an offense against the dignity God bestowed, and it must be healed as soon as possible, regardless of the day. This is why Jesus' Sabbath ministry is so prolific and provocative. It is no accident that so many healings occur on this day. The man with dropsy is healed immediately. The woman bent over for 18 years, a prisoner of her ailment, is instantly set free on the Sabbath. Luke chapter 13. The man with the withered hand is told to stretch out his hand and is restored in the synagogue itself. Luke chapter 6. Jesus is demonstrating, repeatedly, that God's compassion does not operate on a schedule. It doesn't clock out on Friday evening. The Sabbath is the perfect day for these miracles because it is the day that most fully reveals God's desire for our ultimate well-being. The Pharisees saw a rule to be protected. Jesus saw a child of God to be restored. Our challenge is to examine our own lives. Where have we allowed rules, even good religious rules, to become more important than the people they were meant to serve? Do we see Sunday as just an obligation to check off, or as a genuine opportunity to be refreshed by God so we can become agents of his healing love? Today's gospel demands that we choose. We cannot allow our traditions to silence the urgent call of compassion. Like Jesus, we are called to the unceasing work of love, a work that finds its fullest expression in setting others free. Prayer. Lord, I thank you for the gift of Sunday. May all my actions on this day be sanctified according to your will. Amen. O Lord, let this simple prayer expand in my heart. Moving from a mere sentiment to a lived reality. I begin with gratitude. In a world that runs on a frantic, 24/7 cycle of productivity and noise, you have given us the gift of Sunday, a day of holy time. A sanctuary of rest. Thank you for this pause. This divine command to stop, to breathe, and to remember you. It is a gift I often take for granted, treating it either as another day for errands or a day of passive laziness rather than a day for true joy and recreation. I ask you to help me enjoy this day as you intend. Let my joy not be the shallow pursuit of fleeting pleasures, but the deep, abiding joy that comes from communion with you. May my first act be to seek your face, to join with my community in the Eucharistic feast, to worship you in spirit and in truth. Clear my mind of the week's distractions and anxieties, so that I may be fully present to the miracle of the Mass, truly listening to your word and receiving your body. But my prayer, Lord, is that my worship does not end when I leave the church building. This brings me to the core of my plea. May all my actions on this day be sanctified according to your will. What is your will for my Sunday? Today's gospel has shown me. Your will is not simply that I avoid work, but that I do your work. And your work is the unceasing work of love and compassion. To sanctify my actions means to infuse them with your love. Help me to see that spending intentional time with my family, truly listening to my spouse, playing with my children, is a holy act. Show me that calling a friend who is lonely, visiting a relative who is sick, or offering a word of encouragement to a neighbor is the very definition of keeping the Sabbath holy. These are the donkeys and oxen who have fallen into the wells of loneliness, sickness, or despair. You command me not to wait until Monday, but to pull them out immediately, just as you healed the man with dropsy. Protect me from the legalism of the Pharisee, who prized the rule over the person, but also protect me from the opposite error, a lazy secularism that forgets the day's holy purpose. Give me the wisdom to balance true rest with active charity. May my rest not be selfish, but restorative, refilling my spirit so that I have more to give. May the quiet moments of my Sunday, a walk in nature, reading a good book, a simple meal, be opportunities to reflect on your goodness and recharge my soul for the week ahead. Sanctify my rest, sanctify my worship, and sanctify my acts of love. Let this day be a little Easter, a weekly celebration of the resurrection, a foretaste of the eternal rest we hope to share with you. May I live this Sunday, and every Sunday, not as a burden, but as a liberation, a day set free for God, and a day set free for others. All according to your holy will. Amen.
Thánh lễ TV trân trọng cảm ơn quý vị đã quan tâm theo dõi và đăng ký kênh. Kính chúc quý vị luôn được mạnh khỏe, bình an trong Chúa và Mẹ. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong các video tiếp theo.